Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. This video is all about planet Kethu. So what is Kethu and what are the unfavorable places of planet Kethu, especially what are the unfavorable houses in the birth chart represents planet Kethu is what I'll be discussing in this video. Kethu represents spirituality, Kethu represents imprisonment, Kethu represents IT rights, CBI rights, Kethu represents litigation, Kethu represents isolation, Kethu represents civil services, Kethu represents spirituality, Kethu represents professional disturbances, Kethu represents less growth in the life, no expansion, business losses, financial losses, reputation losses, and Kethu also represents, meeting Sadgurus, so pilgrimage, holy places, all these things. There is a Karakatva, that significators of planet Kethu. There are some more, but these are the key significators of planet Kethu. So which are the houses Kethu becomes unfavorable is what I'll be discussing in this video. So first and foremost thing, first house Kethu is not favorable, because if at all you have first house Kethu, then obviously for 7 houses apart, Rahu will be placed in the 7th house. So this angle is really not good for the birth chart, because that will create many hurdles, many problems, many challenges, so much of competition, so much of rivalry, so much of backbiting, gossiping will be there upon this person. And that will also create some kind of reputation losses. All those things generally happens if Kethu is placed in the first house. And if Kethu is placed in the 2nd house, then obviously your speech will not be that great. You'll be sounding very harsh, you'll be very rude. Even though you speak well, sometimes people misunderstand that you are rude enough. So that generally happens if at all you have 2nd house Kethu. So 2nd house Kethu is also not favorable. And 3rd house Kethu is also not favorable, because Kethu represents maleficness and 3rd house represents communication and influence building, friends, networking, all that. So Kethu is supposed to be social in the 3rd house. So Kethu is not considered as a social planet. It is most isolated planet. So Kethu in the 3rd house is not favorable. Kethu in the 5th house is also not favorable, because Kethu represents spirituality, and whereas 5th house talks about romance. So both are not identical to each other. So Kethu doesn't go well in the 5th house. So that brings competitive spirit for the people, but at the same time that will not be really good for relationship building and for romance and all those things. And also children will also be not so good character oriented. So children also might lose certain kind of values. They will not be respecting elders, and especially if at all it is there in the male horoscope, then the male child will not be listening to the parents' words. All these things happens if at all Kethu is placed in the 5th house. If Kethu is placed in the 7th house, that will not be really good for the relationship aspect. That means related to spouse. There will be frequent misunderstandings, frequent conflicts and quarrels will be there with the spouse if Kethu is placed in the 7th house. Kethu also represents litigation. Kethu also represents partnership. So Kethu will not be favorable for litigation and partnership. So you will not be able to win over the litigation. You will not be win over the partnership if Kethu is placed in the 7th house. If Kethu is placed in the 9th house, it is not favorable, because 9th house represents foreign travel opportunities. Kethu doesn't like to go to foreign travel. So you will see wherever especially in the 9th house and the 3rd house, if at all you have a Kethu, so these people are not so interested in the foreign travel. So even though they get good opportunities to travel abroad, but these people will not be able to travel. They don't like to travel because Kethu likes to stay in the homeland. This drags the person to stay in the homeland and practice spirituality. You might have seen many people, although they are super rich enough, they would have left all the money, wealth and everything, and they would have gone on the pathway of spirituality. That generally happens if at all these people have 9th house Kethu or 12th house Kethu. Especially 12th house Kethu brings this kind of isolation, this kind of spiritual angle in the person, and that at one point of time, especially in the Kethu planetary period, this person start thinking that what is the true purpose of the life, what is the true meaning of the life, why I am actually living in this mother earth. So I need to do something else. This is not my true purpose. I have to do something else beyond this. Something beyond is existing, so I have to find out that. So these people go into that path, and they don't like getting into luxuries and materialism and all that. These people are all not really so attached to this materialistic things like jewelry or money or anything. These people doesn't like, and they don't even spend so much of money. You would have seen some people who are very rich, but still they don't really spend the money. They look very simple, and that generally happens if they have 9th house Kethu, 3rd house Kethu, or even the 1st and 12th house Kethu also brings this kind of personality. So that's easily can be recognized by checking their birth chart. And of course, 9th house Kethu is not favorable, and also 10th and 11th houses are also not favorable for planet Kethu, because 10th house represents professional pursuits, career and business. So these people, if at all they give any ideas, if Kethu is placed in the 10th house, their colleagues, their peers and their bosses will not be literally accepting these things. They will not be accepting the ideas of these people. That generally happens if Kethu is placed in the 10th house, and these people also lost the respect, and in spite of their efforts they will not be getting good success. You would have seen lot many people who keep working super hard, but they will not be able to make good amount of money. That generally happens if at all they have Kethu in the 10th house, because all these doing the karmic actions related to planets Saturn, Mars, Venus, Jupiter and all that. But Kethu is a planet of isolation. It doesn't like to do anything. It just like to do spirituality. It just like to do only meditation or get into spiritual part and nothing else. So that drags the person towards that, and they will not be able to show. And you will see if at all 10th house Kethu brings very good amount of professional breaks also. These people have lot of career breaks in their life. You would have seen the people with 10th house Kethu, they'll be switching over the company, switching over the domains again and again. That generally happens if they have 10th house Kethu in the birth chart. So 10th house Kethu is not favorable. At the same time, 11th house Kethu is also not favorable, because 11th house is all about fulfillment of desires. 11th house is all about, totally about materialism, like inflow of money and inflow of assets, okay, acquiring assets, friends, networking, social circle, the kind of lifestyle that you lead in the social circle also determined by 11th house. So Kethu placed in the 11th house will not be favorable, it will not be giving good results, because Kethu is the planet of separation and isolation and spirituality. So that will not be giving favorable results in the 11th house also. Okay, so that generally happens if at all you have this malefic aspect of planet Kethu in these houses. So to summarize, 1st house, 2nd house, then the 5th house, then the 7th, 9th, 10th and 11th houses are not favorable houses for planet Kethu. If at all you have Kethu placed in these houses, then obviously you need to do remedy for planet Kethu. There are so many remedies. And thank you so much for watching this video. If at all you need my astrological consultation, please book for an astrological consultation. For that I need to have your date of birth, time of birth and place of birth. So once you book for an astrological consultation, I'll be able to help you with a complete analysis pertaining to your individual birth chart, not only about planet Kethu. We'll be able to discuss about many other areas of your life pertaining to all the 9 planets in your birth chart. Your individual birth chart analysis will be provided. So once you book for an astrological consultation, and this is basically a general horoscope analysis pertaining to planet Kethu. So there is a lot which we can discuss from your birth chart. So for that, please enable me to provide you the horoscope analysis. For that, you need to book your astrological consultation. I'll see you in the consultation. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.